To be able to introduce for the first time ever anywhere the 45th President of the United States of America.
Why are you carrying the Chinese flag?
Because I'm a Maoist.
Why are you a Maoist? Like, why does this organization, this Occupy Wall Street, appeal to you?
It appeals to me because I got screwed over by the capitalist system myself. I lost my job last year because I wanted to transition from male to female with my gender identity.
But how did the capitalist system make you lose your job?
You have a boss that doesn't believe I'm a human being.
I don't. In China. How would they treat you in China if you tried to do that? If Maoism is so good.
If the party stayed true and didn't become revisionist, they would treat me like a human being.
So, like the Stalinists and those people that killed millions of people. So you support that policy?
You don't have the figures to back up. You know, they're made up. You've been reading the Black Book of Communism or something like that.
I mean, a lot of them actually believe in the manosphere, by the way. The manosphere, you know the manosphere.
You made that up?
You realize people have different opinions in there and are different groups and different ideas.
Actually, I did.
Yeah!
Face to face with a few of them.
Such as?
Well, Emily Yukis.
She's not there.
Okay. What was his name?
You haven't talked to a single one of them. You don't know what you're talking about. You're slandering people like all the people that were out here protesting. You don't know what you're talking about.
Actually, I think that if you're going to do this interview that way, and I think that's ridiculous.
Girl, if you're gonna slander people, I'm gonna call you out, and this is me calling you out. So
I am slandering them for their policies of racism. I have read Mike Cernovich's awfulness, and just because you're laughing and wearing a beautiful gown doesn't mean that you are correct. Actually,
right,
I'm
me
sorry.
having the facts means I'm correct.
I thought
What facts have you given me? You've asked me a lot of questions, and then when I haven't given something, you say that I'm wrong. But what facts have you actually offered? I just want to know that.
I offered counters to every single time you claimed there was a white supremacist in there.
You offered bullying tactics.
No, I'm asking for you to substantiate your bullying and slander of this group, and you haven't given me one piece of substantial evidence. Not one.
How about Milo Yiannopoulos?
He's not there.
He was actually a featured guest.
He's not
Is
there.
he not there?
I was just in there. He's not there.
Is
You don't know a
He was
thing.
a featured
You
guest.
don't know a thing. No,
he
he's
was
not.
a featured guest.
I was just in there. He's not in there.
That doesn't mean he wasn't a featured guest. Could you actually accurately
I'm a
state?
featured guest at the deplorable.
I know that you are. You're actually the only woman who's actually featured. Because guess what? It's a bunch of dudes. And I do not appreciate that.
Did you just call me a woman? I'm legally a man.
Are you?
Yes.
I think it's important to distinguish between the kind of equality that you're talking about, which is you're basically saying that women shouldn't have, money to provide for their children. Men shouldn't have to pay money to provide for their children. When men actually petition for for custody of their children, they're very likely to get it.
What? That's actually not true.
That is
total bull.
When men actually request custody of their children, they almost always get at least joint custody.
Men always lose custody battles.
There's a huge... and they almost always get joint custody. I mean, there's a very big difference.
There's a massive bias against men on custody battles.
It's just a second. To see you survive off of welfare payments. It's not like women are living high on the hog with their, $300 a month to care for their children.
It's not $300 a month. Welfare with food stamps and more than 3 kids is more like $1,200 a month.
Okay, so Jill, let me ask you this. Is sexism dead?
No, sexism is not dead. Sexism is alive and well. If you look at the statistics, even among American women, which I know one of Gavin's talking points is that if you want to find sexism, you have to go abroad, and American women are just fine. American women do make less money. Yes, the gender gap has been pretty much not entirely erased, but it's been very much condensed among young single women without children. But as soon as
they make more money, young single women without children. They make more money than men.
That's what she's saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they make more money.
How do you argue with someone who just keeps making up figures?
I'm not making up figures.
Single women without kids make more money than men.
Figures? Like, which figure do we trust? Because the president has been talking about 77 cents, that women make 77 cents on the dollar for every man. What are the figures?
But
and what
has debunked a lot of that.
And
it's not just maternity. It's also men are more willing to do things like ask for a raise. And men are more willing to work in more difficult jobs that pay them a greater salary. You know, it's not as cut and dried as, and by the way, Gavin brought up a really good point. If employers thought they could get away with paying people 77 cents on the dollar, all major companies would only hire women.
They do it with illegal aliens already.
Leftists love to cyberbully, like good old Leslie Jones. Here she is with what can only be described as, say it with me, targeted harassment. Get her! That's schoolyard bullying at its finest. And here's another one, ending a message with kill yourself. She would fit right in on 4chan. And here's one of my favorites. Leslie Jones loves to say she's hacked. The first resort of the social media scoundrel to say they're hacked. Leslie Jones tweets on about cyberbullying because cyberbullying isn't real, but it shows the hypocrisy of the left crying foul for things that they do themselves. When their own heroes and martyrs lead the charge with bad behavior, they've got nothing to say about it. Naturally, the instinct of the left is to run to the government to fix things. When you want a nanny state, you need babies to take care of. And unless... You know, I think this looks a bit Hitlerian, and that was unintentional. He's just Big Brother. No, if you want a nanny state, you need babies to take care of. Unless, of course, you're a Democrat supporter of Planned Parenthood, in which case you've already killed them all. Any women in the audience who have had abortions, I apologize for offending you, but if it helps, my roasts are nothing compared to being plunged headfirst into a lake of hellfire. Which is what awaits you after your inevitable cat-assisted suicide in lonely middle age. But that is a topic for another day and another speech, really none of my business. It's wrong, it's murder, don't do it.